Alright guys, this is GameboyLuke here, and welcome back to another Top 5. Seeing as we've closed in on the end of the month, and Halloween is upon us, I thought it'd be a good idea to do a Top 6 instead. Our Top 6 most scariest Pokémon.
I have no idea what that was all about. Damn. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into this.
In the number 6 spot, we have
Wobbuffet. Now, a lot of you probably are sat there thinking, wait, you said top 6 scariest Pokemon, right? Top 6 scary. What is scary about Wobbuffet, apart from his weird tail? What is there to be scared about when it comes to Wobbuffet? Well, you know, I did say this is the top 6 most scariest Pokemon, and they are the scariest Pokemon for various different reasons. And Wobbuffet is scary because if you're not playing Wobbuffet Claws on a Nuzlocke and you encounter this guy, 9 times out of 10 you're going to be losing someone. If you're not careful, Wobbuffet can easily take down any single one of your Pokemon from your team purely because of the moves it learns and the fact that it has an incredibly large amount of HP. Wobbuffet is a crazy presence, and you know, with Randomizer Nuzlockes, it can be found anywhere. And as soon as you encounter it, you know, you can't run away, you can't switch out, you are forced to attack this Pokemon. And if your Pokemon doesn't have any moves that aren't attacking moves, such as, you know, if you don't have any sleep powders, none of the freaking baton passes or whirlwinds or any of that stuff, and you have to attack this Pokemon, you have to play the guessing game. Is it going to use a counter, or is it going to use a mirror coat? And you have to make the guess, and you have to use a physical attack or a special attack, and if you don't get it right, you don't kill it, it's gonna hit you back twice as hard. Or if you don't kill it, it's gonna Destiny Bond. And if you have no, you know, if you only have like attacking move do damage and it dies, it's game over. Wobbuffet is the scariest Pokemon to encounter in a Nuzlocke. In the number 5 spot, we have Cadabra. You know, look at Cadabra, and also you kind of get the same sort of vibe. It's like, how is Cadabra in this scary Pokemon list? It doesn't make sense. Well, real quick, so I dug into a bit of research and I looked into something that somebody said in Pokemon Fire Red, and I quote, "It happened one morning, a boy with extrasensory powers awoke in bed, transformed into a Cadabra." Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't like to wake up one morning, you know, and be holding a spoon, have this long ass mustache and be like, oh, Cadabra? Cadabra. Like, I would, you know, it's just frightening, like how randomly this kid just turned into a Cadabra. The kid falls asleep one night and he wakes up only to discover that he's turned into a Pokemon. How do you go about that? Now, most of the Pokemon on this list, I'm putting into like a real life perspective. A lot of people can sit there and say, yo, it'd be so cool to wake up as a Cadabra, I'd be a Pokemon. Okay, so how are you now going to, you know, speak? How are you gonna talk to your parents? How are you gonna, you know, live your life like a human if you're a Pokemon? I mean, some people would, you know, make the best of a bad situation, but looking at it, I wouldn't want to be a Cadabra. I wouldn't want to wake up like a Cadabra. And if your parents come into your room one day and you just sat there like, Cadabra, and they're like, okay, so where's my kid gone? Where's my son/daughter gone? And why is there a Cadabra in this room? They're not gonna put the two together and say, oh, he turned into a Cadabra, because that just sounds stupid, right? So they're like, whoa, the kid's gone, and the Cadabra has used his telepathic powers and teleported him somewhere. And it's like, whoa, yeah, Cadabra, no, that's just because of that description of that Pokemon. Cadabra is freaky, okay? No. In the number 4 spot, we have Banette. Now, at first, Banette doesn't look like a creepy Pokemon. I mean, it looks kind of scary. It's a pretty spooky, spoopy Pokemon, but like I said, putting all of these Pokemon into like real life perspectives, I don't know if you've ever heard of a poltergeist, but it's like a ghost that likes to move things around. They're quite aggressive. And when I look at Banette, it's and you look at his Pokédex description, it's literally it's pissed, man. It's mad because it's a ghost that's taken the form of a doll, right? A doll that a kid has thrown away. So when you look at that, the Banette is the embodiment of anger. And it's just upset. And I don't know about you, but if I saw a doll one day and I was like, hey, look at the doll, look at this thing, and then suddenly it turns around and looks at you and it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you. You'd be like, oh, okay, bye, and you'd be like 6 freaking miles down the street that way because nobody wants to see a doll just stand up and say, hey yo, what's good? And then it mega evolves and its soul comes out of its body and it has these claws and it's just like, yep, I'm gonna cut you into ribbons and I'm gonna laugh about it because you were the person that threw the doll away. And you're like, no man, I didn't throw any doll away. And then you have a flashback to like 12 years ago where you realize you had this one doll and you threw it away when you got too old and say, hi, I'm too old for dolls. And then the Pokemon went inside the doll and it's like, you betrayed me. That's scary, okay? In the number 3 spot, we have Spiritomb. Now, once again, looking at Spiritomb in a real-life situation. So you're just walking down the street, everything's pretty cool, and you see this rock, and you're like, oh yeah, look at this rock, it looks kind of funny. And you kick it across the ground, and suddenly, poof! This purple haze pops out of this rock, and it's like, boo, I'm a Spiritomb. I'm literally the embodiment of spirits and shit, and it's like, okay, well, you know what? You're a pretty scary Pokemon. I'm gonna head this way, and you're gonna stay there. And I'm gonna leave you now. Goodbye. But Spiritomb is literally the embodiment, and it is a fusion of 108 different spirits. You know, I'm okay dealing. You know, I'm not okay dealing with just one spirit. Putting 108 of them into one freaking mist thing with a creepy ass smile and a scary ass look on his face. I'd be like, you know what? No. You know, I love Spiritomb, don't get me wrong. Pokemon is great, he's awesome, he's got an awesome typing, and he's just super fun to use. But in a real life situation, if I saw a rock on the side of my window and poof, this purple ghost thing popped out of it, I would be gone. I would move to freaking Alaska. I would never set foot in this part of the world again because I knew this thing existed. I would be in Alaska chilling with Beartick whilst this freaking Spiritomb was just chilling in my room. No, thank you. No, thank you. Coming in at number 2, we have Yamask. Now, looking at Yamask, you know, it's got red eyes. It's a ghostly figure, and it's got a face mask thing on the end of it. Okay, cool. So what is that all about? That mask is the face that the Yamask used to have when it was human. Yamask was a person before it became Yamask the Pokemon, right? And they even look at this mask and they cry sometimes. And you can even see that in like the sprite of the Pokemon or the model of the Pokemon because he has like the red eyes and then he has like the little, what looks like where he's been crying, like the little circular things on the end of his eyes. And it's crazy because this Pokemon retains memories of its former life. So once again, this Pokemon is something it's a person that turns into a Pokemon, which is like, what? And like, can you imagine bumping into a Yamask, or even not even able to see the Yamask because it's so pitch black, and you just see this floating white mask of a face moving around, and suddenly Yamask appears out of nowhere. Now Yamask itself isn't that scary. I've seen him in the anime. He's not kind of spooky or anything, but the fact that it's just the lore behind Yamask. That's something else. It's incredibly creepy, and the fact that, you know, I wouldn't want to die and then remember everything. You know, I wouldn't want to die and then turn into something else and remember my previous memories, my family, and all that kind of stuff, and have to live as something else, as a separate entity, remembering all of my past. That would be tormenting. That would be horrible. But, you know, once again, putting it into a real life situation, I can't imagine seeing Yamask just pop up to my window with this mask on and be like, hey, how's it going? It would just be scary. I just would not want to deal with that. No, thank you. And finally, number 1 of this top 5 is Hypno. Whoa, didn't see that one coming, right? Now, I must admit, my opinion of Hypno has been swayed slightly by the creepypastas and stuff in the story of Hypno swooping up the children and the poem and the creepy ass song and all that kind of stuff. That's definitely 100% swayed my opinion of this Pokemon completely, especially with the fan art that you can find online. It's scary, without a doubt. That creepypasta is scary. I would definitely highly recommend you read it, because it's definitely spooky, scary, skeletons and stuff. But it's, you know, Hypno itself was always kind of a creepy Pokemon. It sits there, it has that really weird look on its face. It has, you know, it's just got the crazy, I don't know, it's not really crazy, it's like a nice simple design, but he just looks like he's up to something, right? And when I listened to some of the representations of the creepypasta and his voice, the voice used for the strange song, or Hypno's song, it's not something I would show my child. you know? It's something I know that would, you know, it's like your son, your daughter's just about to get into Pokemon, they're really enjoying it, you show them Hypno song, they bump into a Drowsy one day, they're like, yo, this Pokemon's pretty cool, it's got like an elephant's nose, it's got a freaking trunk, and then you evolve it into Hypno, and they're scarred for life. It's like your kid, you know, he's having nightmares by Hypno, snatching him up and stuff. You know, I wouldn't want to deal with a Hypno in real life, especially if, you know, it was gonna act like that, because I can imagine bumping into a Hypno in a random field and him trying to snatch you up, because all he's gotta do is put you to sleep with his thing, tie you up in some ropes, and you is done. I'm telling you right now, Hypno is like really, really creepy, especially after reading up on some of like the really weird stuff, and even his Pokedex entry is kind of, you know, a little bit weird, but yeah. But yeah, that was my top 6 scariest Pokemon, guys. I hope you enjoyed this top 6. I was trying my hardest to get it up before Halloween was over, and if I did miss it, I do apologize, and I'm sorry it's a little bit late, but I mean, the later it gets, the later it's uploaded, I guess, the creepier and more fitting it is, considering it's Halloween and stuff. I just want to say thank you to everyone that has checked the video out, and if you did enjoy, please consider clicking a thumb down below, it is greatly appreciated, and there will be more top 5s to come, so stay tuned for that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.